after another devastating defeat last night. LeBron and the Lakers taking on the Pelicans, who they could easily see in the play-in. Now pick us up in the second quarter. Just keep an eye on LeBron here. Don't ignore the ball. Watch LeBron going down as he's battling Jackson Hayes for a rebound, and LeBron will roll the ankle. In fact, if you look at it closely, it looks pretty bad for LeBron, who would stay in the game, candidly still have a monster night. But it's a painful injury, and we'll talk more about it as we go. Meanwhile, we're later in the first quarter, and LeBron would go. Did I tell you he played well? He's knocking down threes from everywhere. There's one. Here's another showing you range. He made 6 threes in the first half. That ties his career high for any half in any game. LeBron had 25 at the break, and the Lakers were up by 20. All good, right? Wrong. Later in the third. Remember, the Lakers have been up by as many as 23. Now it's a 5-point game. Now here's Trey Murphy. Now it's a 3-point game. Murphy had 21. New Orleans down just 4 going to the fourth. Over 3 minutes to go now. Pelicans are up by 2. Brandon Ingram working in the post. How good is that kid? He had 26. New Orleans up by 4. 30 seconds to go. Pelicans, C.J. McCollum. Oh, it's a goaltend. LeBron goes up and gets it. Doesn't like the call. A lot of things for him not to like. LeBron James would score 39, but the Pelicans come all the way back to win. LeBron, what?
It feels like I mean, excuse my language, but that's what it feels like. You know, I came in with the mindset, understanding it was a playoff type, it was gonna be playoff type atmosphere, playoff implications and things of that nature. So, I knew that from the jump. We also got a lot of guys on our ball club that haven't played in playoff games as well. That plays a lot of big minutes for us. You know, it feels like a wasted opportunity, obviously, for myself and for our team, and we weren't able to get it done.
All right, so Timmy Legler, so if I had told you before the year LeBron James is going to be averaging 30 points a game and his team would be in 10th place at the end of March and only a game away from falling out of the play-in, what would you have said to me?
Honestly, Greeny, if you asked me that exact question, my response would have been, LeBron James was averaging 30 points a game. I think of everything that you put into that statement, that's the most surprising thing because no player's ever done this. At 37 years old, to be averaging 30 points a game. He's the oldest guy by a mile to put up these kind of numbers at this age. So I would have said, well, what's going on with the Lakers if LeBron James has to be this dominant as a scorer? Because we know that's not really how he thinks. I know for a fact LeBron James would much rather average 16 points a game, and they're a 3 seed in the Western Conference. So to me, just by the mere fact that LeBron James is putting up these scoring numbers, if I didn't watch a single game all year and you told me that, I would have known this team is in deep trouble because you cannot put that kind of burden on a player at this stage of his career. So it's been shocking, and I think the biggest thing for me when I watch this team, Greeny, they just don't look like they really have a lot of fun. And this has been an absolute grind the entire season, and now it's slipping right through their fingers. And the possibility they could be home when the play-in actually starts. That, to me, completely unthinkable, a roster with LeBron, Russell Westbrook, and AD going into the season.
Yeah, and we can put, Cindy, we can put the remaining schedule up on the screen here if you want to take a look at it. I mentioned they're only 1 game clear, as we discussed, of San Antonio. So what do you think here? 2 weeks from the play-in, it's 2 weeks from this week, Tuesday and Wednesday is when those will be played. What do you expect to happen for them here when LeBron and company legs?
Well, Greeny, if you just looked at the schedule and saw those names of those teams, you'd say they have no shot, right? They don't have the tiebreaker with San Antonio. New Orleans has now passed them. But here's the thing. You don't know, looking at these teams right now, who is going to be playing as the season winds down. Because, look, a lot of these teams are involved in tight matchups for seeding and whatnot. Some teams just trying to get in. But at the same time, when you get into the last week of the season, there's a great possibility that some of these teams have their spot locked in, which means they might rest some stars. So it's really tough this time of year to just predict based on the name of the team that that's an automatic loss for the Lakers. I think some of this is going to be determined by who is playing on those given nights, but it certainly doesn't look good. I think right now there's a better chance the Lakers are sitting home when this whole thing starts than there is that they advance out of the play-in.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.